In the violent world of drug cartels, where betrayal, power struggles, and heartbreak run deep, some parents have been driven to the edge, compelled to seek justice for the children these ruthless organizations stole from them. In this post, we delve into the stories of 5 parents who, devastated by loss, took extraordinary and perilous steps to confront cartel members. Each story reflects the powerful bond of family and the intense risks of pursuing revenge in a world defined by terror. Miriam Rodriguez, a mother's tenacious hunt. On January 24, 2014, Miriam Rodriguez received a call that forever altered her life. Her daughter was kidnapped, with a ransom set at $22,000. Despite paying, Miriam never saw her daughter again, igniting an unrelenting drive to find those who had stolen her child from her. Rodriguez's pursuit took her to the Zetas cartel, infamous for their violent tactics and ruthless operations. After a chilling call from her daughter's kidnappers, her worst fears were confirmed, joining her daughter's name to the list of thousands lost to Mexico's crisis of disappearances. Driven by love and sheer determination, Miriam became her own investigator. She uncovered her first lead by tracking down a man called Sama on social media, who she believed was linked to her daughter's disappearance. Disguising herself, she used a fake ID to further her search for information. Despite repeated rejections from the authorities, she persevered. After months of intense searching, Miriam found Sama and notified the police, resulting in his capture. Her pursuit didn't stop there. She would go on to find and expose 10 of her daughter's captors, earning a reputation as a hero among her community. Tragically, her quest for justice would end in her own murder on Mother's Day, a somber reminder of the high stakes involved in her relentless mission. Luis Torres, a father's fierce vengeance. On April 18, 2008, Antonio Torres, the 20-year-old son of cartel leader LM1, was ambushed and killed by rival cartel members, sending his father into a deep, vengeful fury. Known as LM1, this Sinaloan drug lord had been an integral part of the cartel scene for years. His son's death, however, changed him in a profound way, turning his life into a harrowing crusade for retribution. With his alliances to powerful figures like El Chapo, LM1 ordered his men to capture and torment anyone linked to his son's murder. His quest was marked by unspeakable acts, earning him the name El Loco, or the Madman. For months, his violence painted the streets red with blood, until September 2008, when authorities intervened, ending his brutal reign of terror. Eduardo Gallo, a father who became a detective. In July 2000, Eduardo Gallo's nightmare began when his daughter, Pa Gallo, was kidnapped in a violent home invasion. Despite paying an $18,500 ransom, Pa was never returned. Frustrated and disillusioned by the lack of progress from the authorities, Eduardo decided to take on the investigation himself. Closing his consulting business, he devoted himself to finding his daughter's killers. With his connections, he gained access to critical information, tracking down leads that had been overlooked. His persistence eventually led him to one of the suspects, who confessed to murdering his daughter. Eduardo's story exposes the gaps in Mexico's justice system, where families often face crime alone. His fight for justice is a powerful testament to a father's love and the sacrifices he's willing to make for his family. Hector Palma, a life of crime and retribution. Hector Palma, a well-known figure in Mexico's drug trade, endured unbearable tragedy when his family was brutally murdered by a rival cartel. Known as a former hitman who rose within the Guadalajara cartel, Palma's grief transformed into a dark thirst for vengeance. The shocking murder of his family sent Palma on a violent mission, hunting down and executing those responsible. His brutal campaign left a bloody trail of retribution that further entangled him in the violent cartel world. Palma's story reflects a life deeply entwined with betrayal and revenge, with his actions perpetuating the cycle of violence that continues to plague Mexico. El Chapo, a father's quest for vengeance. One of the world's most infamous drug lords, Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, experienced a searing personal loss when his son was killed. This tragedy only intensified the violent drug wars raging across Mexico. El Chapo's rise to power was marked by both cunning and cruelty. Following his son's assassination, he sought revenge, directing a wave of retaliatory strikes against rival organizations. This response underscored his deep familial loyalty, demonstrating how far a father would go to avenge a loved one's death, but it also highlighted the endless cycle of brutality that defines cartel life. Conclusion: the heavy toll of retribution. These parent stories reveal the intense pain and desperation that result from losing a child to cartel violence. each of them embarked on a journey for justice that often led to tragic outcomes. Although driven by love and grief, these stories illustrate the risks of pursuing revenge in a world where right and wrong are often blurred. Their tales serve as a stark reminder of the heavy human cost of drug violence in Mexico. As long as cartels operate with such power and impunity, families will continue to suffer and the cycle of vengeance will endure, leaving in its wake a legacy of pain and loss.